Norway launches scenic train tour to observe the northern lights. Imagine being aboard a luxury train, gliding silently through the icy darkness of the Norwegian Arctic, while the sky explodes in dancing curtains of green, violet, and pink light overhead. It sounds like an impossible dream, but it has just become a reality. Norway has just launched the world's most spectacular rail journey, designed specifically for Northern Lights hunters. This is not just another tourist train, it's a revolution in how we experience one of the most breathtaking natural phenomena on the planet. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why this launch is making the whole world stop and watch. The aurora borealis has fascinated humanity for millennia, inspiring legends, myths, and an incessant quest for the perfect viewing experience. Ancient peoples believed these lights were spirits dancing in the skies, messages from the gods, or even reflections of celestial warriors' armor. Scientifically, we now know they are solar particles colliding with the Earth's atmosphere, but the mystery and magic remain intact. Millions of people travel to polar regions every year, braving extreme cold and unpredictable conditions just for the chance to witness this celestial spectacle. Most endure hours of waiting outdoors, in temperatures reaching 30 degrees Celsius, with no guarantee of success. Now, Norway has decided to completely transform this experience, combining luxurious comfort, cutting-edge technology, and the best observation points in the Arctic. The new scenic rail service represents years of meticulous planning involving scientists specializing in solar activity, meteorologists, railway engineers, and world-class interior designers. Every detail has been thought out to maximize the chances of observation while keeping passengers warm, comfortable, and amazed. This audacious project cost millions of Norwegian kroner and promises to redefine Northern Lights tourism forever. The launch took place amidst great international anticipation, with reservations for the first 6 months of operations selling out in a matter of hours. Tourists from over 50 countries have already secured their places in this unique experience, which combines Scandinavian railway tradition with cutting-edge technological innovation. Social media exploded with photos and videos of the first passengers, generating millions of views and shares. Travel influencers, professional photographers, and celebrities are declaring this the most sought-after tourist experience of the moment. But what makes this train so special? Why invest so much in a project that depends on an unpredictable natural phenomenon? The answer lies in the perfect combination of several factors: scientifically planned routes through the most active aurora belt, carriages with heated panoramic glass roofs, a real-time forecasting system, and strategic stops in locations with the least light pollution. It's the perfect union of nature, science, and human engineering. This train not only takes you to the Northern Lights, it ensures you'll be in the right place at the right time with maximum comfort. Before we continue this incredible journey through the Norwegian Arctic, join our community of curiosity explorers. Tap the subscribe button now and activate the bell so you don't miss any fascinating discoveries. If you're as impressed as we are with this Norwegian innovation, leave a like now. Your support motivates us to bring you even more amazing content like this. Now, let's embark together on this icy and luminous adventure. The science behind the route. The choice of route for this scenic train was not random, but rather the result of years of scientific research on aurora borealis patterns in the Norwegian Arctic region. Scientists analyzed decades of meteorological data, solar activity, cloud cover, and light pollution to determine the most promising routes. The result is a route that crosses what experts call the auroral oval zone, a specific area where auroras are most frequent and intense. This region, located between 65 and 72 degrees north latitude, offers the best observation statistics in the world, with visibility on up to 200 nights a year during the ideal season. The main train route stretches for approximately 730 kilometers through northern Norway, connecting cities such as Bodø, Narvik, and Tromsø. Each segment was carefully selected for its unique viewing characteristics. The railway line passes through deep fjords, crosses desolate Arctic plateaus, and skirts snow-capped mountains, always keeping a distance from large urban centers. Light pollution is the #1 enemy of aurora hunters, and this route was designed to minimize its interference as much as possible. In some sections, the train passes through areas where the natural darkness is so profound that the stars seem to explode in the sky. One of the most impressive aspects is the dynamic stopping system implemented by the railway operator. Unlike conventional trains with fixed schedules, this service uses real-time aurora forecasts to adjust its itinerary. Special sensors along the route monitor geomagnetic activity, solar wind speed, and cloud cover, constantly transmitting data to the control center. When conditions align perfectly at a given point, the train can make unscheduled stops to maximize the viewing experience. This operational flexibility is revolutionary in the railway sector and was made possible thanks to special agreements with Norwegian transport authorities. The technology embedded in the train itself is also impressive in its sophistication. Each train is equipped with state-of-the-art magnetometers that detect disturbances in the Earth's magnetic field, one of the first indicators of imminent auroral activity. Specialized cameras mounted on the ceilings of the carriages continuously capture the sky, using artificial intelligence algorithms to identify aurora formations even before they become visible to the human eye. This information is processed instantly and communicated to both passengers and operators, allowing for real-time adjustments. The system can even predict, up to 30 minutes in advance, when a particularly intense aurora is about to appear. The partnership with the Norwegian Institute for Polar Research was fundamental to the development of this intelligent system. Scientists contributed predictive models based on historical data of solar storms and their visible manifestations in the Norwegian Arctic. The train essentially functions as a mobile observatory, combining mobility with scientific capability. Passengers have access to information panels that explain in real time what they are seeing, including the intensity of the aurora, measured on the KP scale, its approximate altitude, and even predictions about how long the phenomenon should last. The route's altitude was also strategically planned. Many sections traverse elevated areas above 600 meters, where the low cloud layer is often left behind. This privileged elevation significantly increases the chances of clear skies, essential for aurora observation. Furthermore, the temperature at these altitudes, although cooler, contributes to a clearer and more crystalline atmosphere. The dry, cold Arctic air of these plateaus offers superior optical conditions, making the aurora's colors appear more vibrant and defined. It's like having a VIP seat at the greatest natural light show on Earth. Design and comfort of the railway cars. The carriages of this panoramic train represent a masterpiece of Scandinavian design applied to railway engineering. Each train was designed from scratch specifically for this purpose. They are not adaptations of conventional trains. The most impressive element is undoubtedly the panoramic glass roof that extends the entire length of the main carriages. This is not ordinary glass, but rather special laminated polycarbonate panels with exceptional thermal properties. The material retains internal heat while offering optical clarity comparable to the thinnest glass, without visual distortion that could compromise the viewing experience. The heating system integrated into the panoramic roof is a technological marvel in itself. Invisible heating filaments run across the entire transparent surface, preventing ice and condensation even when the outside temperature reaches 40 degrees C. This technology, originally developed for aviation, was specifically adapted for this railway project. The result is a perfectly unobstructed view of the Arctic sky, allowing passengers to observe auroras at a 180-degree angle while remaining comfortably heated to 22 degrees C. The sensation is of floating through the Arctic landscape inside a luxurious glass bubble. The interior of the carriages reflects Scandinavian minimalist aesthetics, with a predominance of light woods, natural fabrics, and neutral tones that do not compete with the natural spectacle outside. The seats were specially designed to recline at an ideal angle for sky observation, allowing passengers to enjoy auroras for hours without neck discomfort. Each seat is individually adjustable, upholstered in premium eco-leather and equipped with its own heating. The seats are arranged in a configuration that ensures all seats are window seats, eliminating disputes over the best view. Some carriages even offer private cabins with beds that convert into personal observation areas. The interior lighting deserves special attention, as it was developed considering principles of preserving night vision. Low-intensity red LED lights can be activated when necessary, a trick used by professional astronomers. The red light does not impair the eye's adaptation to darkness, allowing passengers to read menus or move around the carriage without compromising their ability to see subtle details in the auroras. During moments of peak auroral activity, all interior lighting can be completely switched off, creating a fully immersive experience. The almost reverent silence that settles in during these moments makes the experience even more magical. The restaurant and lounge cars are equally impressive, offering high-quality Norwegian cuisine while maintaining the panoramic concept. Chefs prepare traditional dishes with local ingredients such as Arctic salmon, cod, reindeer meat, and berries from the region. Meals are served at times coordinated with periods of lower aurora probability, maximizing the time available for observation during peak activity. The bar offers a selection of Norwegian aquavits, local craft beers, and hot chocolates, specially formulated to warm body and soul on Arctic nights. Every thoughtful detail contributes to transforming a train journey into a complete sensory experience. Soft ambient music by Norwegian composers plays discreetly when appropriate, but can be muted instantly. Merino wool blankets are available for passengers who desire extra comfort. Even the ambient aroma is carefully curated, with subtle diffusers of fragrances inspired by the Norwegian boreal forest. Bathrooms are spacious and heated, equipped with premium toiletries from Scandinavian brands. No detail is too small to receive attention in this project that redefines luxury in Arctic rail travel. The passenger experience. The journey begins long before passengers board the train, with a preparation process that builds anticipation and ensures everyone gets the most out of the experience. Those who book receive a detailed digital information package about the Northern Lights, including accessible scientific explanations, photography tips, and what to expect in each season. A preparation guide suggests appropriate clothing for possible outdoor stops at observation platforms, although the train interior is always comfortable. The company also offers optional virtual consultations with aurora experts to answer questions and adjust realistic expectations about the natural phenomenon. On the day of departure, passengers are welcomed to exclusive lounges at the departure stations, where they can enjoy hot drinks and snacks while they wait. Crew members provide an initial briefing on safety, the planned itinerary, and how the aurora alert systems work. Each passenger receives a mobile device connected to the train's system, which will send notifications whenever exceptional aurora observation conditions are detected. This app also allows passengers to control individual comfort aspects, such as seat temperature, personal lighting, and even place orders with the onboard service without needing to call attendants. Once aboard, the magic begins immediately. As the train departs from the station and enters the Arctic darkness, the city gradually disappears, and the first stars begin to appear on the glass ceiling above. The crew includes not only traditional attendants, but also expert guides in Arctic natural phenomena who circulate through the carriages, offering informative commentary without being intrusive. These specialists can identify visible constellations, explain local weather patterns, and share knowledge about the Sami culture, the indigenous people of the region. Their narratives greatly enrich the experience, connecting passengers with the environment on a deeper level. The most magical moments obviously happen when the auroras appear. No two auroras are alike. Each display is unique in shape, color, intensity, and duration. Some nights feature subtle green curtains gently undulating, while others explode in pyrotechnic displays of multiple colors dancing violently across the sky. When sensors detect significant activity, discreet alerts are sent to all devices, and the crew gently announces the event. Passengers who happen to be sleeping can choose to be awakened for auroras that exceed a certain intensity level. The collective excitement that spreads through the train at these moments creates a sense of community sharing something extraordinary. For photography enthusiasts, the train offers impressive specialized support. Tripods can be set up in designated areas with stabilized surfaces that compensate for vibrations from the train's movement. Onboard professional photographers offer quick workshops on ideal camera settings for capturing auroras, including proper exposure, ISO, and aperture. For those without professional equipment, the company provides high-quality cameras pre-configured for aurora photography for rent. There's even a friendly competition among passengers for the best photo of the trip, with the winner receiving a free future trip. This gamification adds a fun element without compromising the serenity of the experience. Strategic stops at outdoor platforms represent some of the highlights of the journey. When conditions are perfect, the train stops at specially prepared remote locations where passengers can disembark and experience the northern lights in a more visceral way. Feeling the biting Arctic cold on your face while celestial lights dance above creates a powerful contrast with the comfort of the train. These moments outdoors, though brief so as not to overexpose passengers to the extreme cold, add a sensory dimension impossible to replicate through glass. The absolute silence of the Arctic wilderness, broken only by occasional cracking of ice. From a distance, it makes the experience almost spiritual for many visitors. Economic and tourism impact. The launch of this scenic train is generating massive ripples in the economy of northern Norway, a region that has historically faced challenges with depopulation and limited opportunities outside the fishing and oil industries. Economists estimate that the project will inject approximately 200 million Norwegian kroner annually into the regional economy, considering not only the direct operations of the train, but the entire tourism ecosystem that develops around it. Small towns along the route are experiencing an economic renaissance, with the opening of new hotels, restaurants, souvenir shops, and complementary services. Jobs are being created at rates not seen in decades in these Arctic communities. The traditional tourist season in the Norwegian Arctic has always been short, concentrated mainly in the summer months when the midnight sun attracts visitors. With this train specifically focused on the northern lights, the winter season is becoming equally lucrative, creating year-round employment for local residents. Workers who previously depended on seasonal jobs are now finding permanent positions related to aurora tourism. The train operator directly employs over 300 people, from train drivers and onboard crew to maintenance technicians and weather forecasting specialists. Indirectly, the project is estimated to support over 1,000 additional jobs in the region. The multiplier effect on tourism is particularly impressive. Passengers typically extend their stays in Norway to include days before or after the train journey, exploring complementary destinations. Tromsø, a city frequently used as a starting or ending point, has seen hotel bookings increase by 40% since the announcement of the rail service. Local tourism companies have developed combined packages that include the train experience, plus activities such as husky sledding, visits to reindeer farms, Sami cultural experiences, and ice fishing expeditions. This integration has created a more robust and diverse tourism ecosystem. Municipalities along the route are investing heavily in infrastructure to accommodate the expected influx of visitors. Regional airports have expanded operations, roads have been improved, and public transportation systems have been strengthened. Some communities have developed museums dedicated to the science of the Northern Lights and the history of Arctic exploration, attracting visitors interested in deepening their knowledge before or after their train journey. The Norwegian government sees the project as a model of sustainable development for remote regions, demonstrating how quality tourism can revitalize rural areas without compromising cultural authenticity or environmental integrity. The demographic profile of visitors is also changing in interesting ways. Traditionally, Northern Lights tourism primarily attracted young adventurers willing to camp in challenging conditions or budget travelers. The scenic train has opened this market to entirely new demographics, including senior tourists, who value comfort, families with young children who previously would have considered the experience too challenging, and luxury travelers accustomed to high standards of service. This diversification significantly increases the potential size of the Arctic tourism market, with projections indicating growth of up to 300% in the next 5 years. The international visibility generated by the project is invaluable in terms of marketing Norway as a tourist destination. Reports in major global media outlets, viral social media posts, and coverage on travel programs are positioning the country as a leader in premium experiential tourism. This type of organic publicity is worth millions in traditional promotional campaigns. Other countries with potential for aurora viewing, such as Iceland, Finland, Sweden, Canada, and Alaska, are watching closely and have already announced intentions to develop similar projects. Norway, however, has established a significant competitive advantage by being a pioneer, securing years of leadership in this emerging market niche. Sustainability and environmental responsibility. From its inception, the Northern Lights Sightseeing Train project has prioritized environmental sustainability as a fundamental pillar, recognizing the irony of potentially damaging the pristine environment that attracts visitors. The entire fleet operates on 100% renewable electricity, primarily from hydroelectric power, for which Norway is world-renowned. The trains do not directly emit greenhouse gases during operation, contrasting dramatically with alternatives such as charter flights or diesel bus caravans that traditionally transported aurora hunters. This choice represents a genuine commitment to reducing the carbon footprint of Arctic tourism. The carriages were built using circular economy principles whenever possible, with recycled or recyclable materials making up a significant percentage of the structure. Wood used in the interior comes exclusively from certified sustainably managed forests, many of them located in Norway itself. Fabrics are produced with organic or recycled fibers, and cleaning products used for maintenance are all biodegradable and non-toxic. Even the water served on board goes through a state-of-the-art filtration system that allows for reuse for non-potable purposes, minimizing waste. Attention to environmental detail permeates every operational aspect. Waste management has been meticulously planned to eliminate any negative impact on the fragile Arctic ecosystem. All waste generated during trips is segregated into detailed categories and transported back to appropriate recycling or composting facilities. Nothing is discarded along the route, a policy that is rigorously enforced. Organic kitchen waste is composted and subsequently donated to local agricultural projects, closing nutrient cycles. Recyclable materials are processed in partnership with certified companies. This zero-footprint approach sets a new standard for tourism operations in sensitive environments. The company has also implemented robust educational programs for passengers on Arctic conservation and climate change. Onboard guides not only explain auroras but also contextualize the environmental challenges faced by the Arctic, including accelerated sea ice melt, threats to local biodiversity, and observable impacts of rising temperatures. Informative panels in the carriages present up-to-date scientific data on the health of the Arctic ecosystem. The intention is to transform each passenger into an ambassador for polar conservation, someone who returns home with a deeper appreciation for the fragility and importance of these environments. Environmental education integrated into the tourist experience multiplies the project's positive impact. Partnerships with conservation organizations further enhance the environmental commitment. A percentage of revenue is allocated to funds that support research on Arctic ecosystems, monitoring of wildlife populations, and initiatives to combat climate change. Passengers can opt for additional voluntary contributions to specific projects, and many choose to do so. The company also funds scholarships for local youth interested in careers related to environmental science or sustainable tourism. This next-generation investment ensures the continuity of conservation values even after the novelty of the train wears off. Critics initially questioned whether bringing more tourists to remote Arctic regions could, ironically, damage them through increased human pressure. The operator's response was to develop rigorous visitor management protocols. Passenger numbers are intentionally limited to avoid overloading, with trips operating at reduced capacity compared to what would be physically possible. External stops occur only in locations specifically prepared and reinforced to withstand human traffic without erosion or damage to delicate Arctic vegetation. Environmental guards constantly monitor impacts, adjusting practices as needed. The model demonstrates that tourism and conservation can coexist when proper planning and ethics prevail. Technology and innovation. The technology embedded in this train represents a fascinating convergence between railway tradition and cutting-edge innovation, creating a system that would have been impossible just a decade ago. The central control system uses artificial intelligence to simultaneously process dozens of variables in real time, from meteorological data and solar activity to feedback from sensors along the route and carriage occupancy. Machine learning algorithms have been trained with years of historical data on aurora sightings, allowing for increasingly accurate predictions of when and where spectacular phenomena are likely to occur. This predictive capability fundamentally transforms the experience, increasing the observation success rate to unprecedented levels. Onboard connectivity is impressive even in remote Arctic environments where telecommunications infrastructure is traditionally limited. The train uses a hybrid system that combines 5G terrestrial connections, where available with Starlink satellite communication, to ensure uninterrupted coverage even in the most isolated sections of the route. Passengers enjoy high-speed internet throughout the journey, allowing them to instantly share photos and videos on social media, make video calls, or simply stay connected for work if needed. This connectivity is also crucial operationally, enabling constant updates to the Aurora predictive systems and fluid communication between the train, control center, and ground teams. Automated image capture systems represent a particularly ingenious innovation. Strategically mounted specialized cameras continuously capture the night sky in high resolution, using long exposures and advanced image processing to reveal auroras even at intensities barely perceptible to the naked eye. These images are processed by artificial intelligence that identifies specific auroral patterns, classifies intensity, and can even predict future movements of the luminous formations. The best images are automatically made available to passengers who can download them as souvenirs, while extracted scientific data feeds research into auroral behavior. Augmented reality is being experimentally integrated into some train carriages, offering an additional layer of information for interested passengers. Using provided tablets or smartphones, visitors can point them at the sky and see digital overlays identifying constellations, explaining in real time the science behind visible auroras, or even showing simulations of how the phenomenon might unfold in the coming hours based on forecasts. This fusion of natural experience and digital enrichment meets the growing demand for educational experiential tourism. Some passengers prefer to disable these technologies for a more contemplative experience, an option that is always respected. The safety systems also incorporate state-of-the-art technology essential for operation in extreme Arctic conditions. Sensors constantly monitor track integrity, detecting even the slightest deformations caused by expansion and contraction due to temperature variations. Preventive heating systems on the tracks prevent ice buildup that could compromise traction. Each train is equipped with multiple redundant systems for critical functions, ensuring that failure of any individual component does not compromise safety or comfort. Constant communication with maintenance teams, strategically positioned along the route, ensures a rapid response to any eventuality. These rigorous protocols are essential for reliable operation in such a challenging environment. Innovation extends to unexpected aspects, such as the ambient sound system. Designed specifically for this train, it uses directional technology that allows for the creation of personalized acoustic zones. Passengers in certain areas can listen to educational narration or ambient music while others enjoy complete silence, all without the use of headphones. This technology, originally developed for museums, creates an individualized experience even in a shared space. External directional microphones capture sounds of the Arctic environment, from howling winds to occasional wildlife calls, which can be subtly transmitted throughout the carriages, for even deeper immersion. Each technological element was selected not for spectacle, but to genuinely enhance the passenger experience. Stories and testimonies. The first weeks of operation generated an avalanche of emotional testimonials from passengers who described the experience as transformative, often using almost spiritual terms. Maria Andersson, a 58-year-old Swedish teacher, described her trip as the most magical moment of my life, surpassing even the birth of my children. She recounted that after years of dreaming of seeing the northern lights, but always postponing it due to concerns about cold and discomfort, the train finally made her dream accessible. When the auroras appeared on the second night of the trip, she described being simultaneously laughing and crying, completely overwhelmed by the beauty of the natural spectacle. Stories like Maria's are remarkably common among first-time travelers. Professional photographers are particularly enthusiastic about the possibilities offered by the train. James Chen, a Singaporean nature photographer who had already hunted auroras in 5 different countries, stated that the train experience completely revolutionized my ability to capture this phenomenon. He explained that the combination of mobility, multiple observation points, and the ability to stay warm between shots allowed him to capture sequences impossible to obtain through traditional methods. His photographic series from the trip went viral on social media, accumulating millions of views and inspiring countless other photographers to book their own experiences. The impact on the nature photography communities has been substantial. Families with children represent a particularly touching segment of the testimonials. The Thompsons, an American family with 3 children between the ages of 6 and 12, shared that they initially hesitated to attempt an Arctic trip with their young children. Thinking about dragging children into 30-degree cold seemed reckless, explained Sarah Thompson. The train eliminated those concerns completely. Her children were fascinated not only by the auroras, but by the complete experience of traveling through the polar night. My 8-year-old son now wants to be an astrophysicist, she reported, laughing. The experience sparked a curiosity about science that no classroom could. Educating through experience remains among the most valuable impacts of the project. There are also plenty of marriage proposals happening on board, with the train quickly becoming a top-tier romantic destination. The operator has already recorded more than 20 marriage proposals during auroras in the first 8 weeks of operation. The service has begun offering special packages for romantic occasions, including champagne, floral arrangements specially transported to the Arctic, and discreet photographers to capture the moment. Lars and Ingrid, a Norwegian couple who met years ago during an unsuccessful aurora hunting expedition, finally witnessed the phenomenon together on the train and described the experience as closing the circle of our relationship. The romantic dimension adds an unexpected emotional layer to the project's commercial success. Scientists and educators also find extraordinary value in the experience. Dr. Elena Volkov, a Russian astrophysicist specializing in solar physics, booked the trip explicitly to combine personal enjoyment with professional observations. She praised the access to real-time data from the train's sensors and the opportunity to explain the phenomenon to curious passengers. We rarely have the opportunity to share our passion with such a receptive and engaged audience, she commented. Several educators reported planning to bring groups of students on future trips, seeing unparalleled educational potential. The intersection between tourism and science education represents one of the most rewarding dimensions of the project for its creators. Even initial skeptics were won over. Erik Johansson, a notoriously cynical Norwegian travel journalist, wrote after his experience, "I arrived prepared to debunk exaggerated marketing and found something genuinely transcendent." He openly admitted in his review that he expected the concept to be overly commercial or that reality wouldn't match the hype. "I was completely wrong," he concluded. "This train delivers not only what it promises, but exceeds expectations in ways impossible to anticipate." Positive reviews from respected voices helped solidify the project's reputation quickly. The authenticity of the experience speaks for itself, generating marketing, organic, spread through enthusiastic word of mouth that money can't buy. Sami culture and heritage. The scenic train route traverses territories traditionally inhabited by the Sami people, indigenous to the Scandinavian Arctic with an ancient culture deeply connected to the Northern Lights. From the initial planning stages, the operator recognized the crucial importance of involving Sami communities as genuine partners, not just as an exotic tourist attraction. Extensive consultations were held with Sami councils to ensure the project respected sacred sites, traditional reindeer herding routes, and cultural sensitivities. This collaborative process established a foundation of mutual respect that permeates all operations. Sami representatives have permanent seats on the project's advisory board, ensuring continued voice in operational decisions. The Sami cultural presence on board is authentic and educational, carefully avoiding the pitfalls of cultural appropriation or exoticization. Sami cultural guides accompany many trips, sharing traditional stories about the Northern Lights in their own words and perspectives. In Sami cosmology, the auroras are not merely a physical phenomenon, but possess profound spiritual significance. Some traditions consider the lights to be the spirits of ancestors, others as manifestations of powerful natural forces that demand respect. Hearing these narratives directly from Sami storytellers adds an invaluable cultural dimension that enriches the scientific and aesthetic experience. The intersection between traditional knowledge and modern science creates a more holistic understanding of the phenomenon. Sami handcrafted products are available for purchase on board, with 100% of the profits going directly to the artists and communities. These are not mass-produced trinkets, but authentic works of traditional craftsmanship. Silver jewelry with patterns inspired by Arctic elements, traditional knives with handles carved from birch wood, textiles with geometric patterns characteristic of Sami culture, and miniature ceremonial drums. Each piece comes with a certificate of authenticity and information about the artist. This commercial partnership provides a valued source of income for Sami artisans while educating visitors about the region's cultural richness. The established fair trade model has become a benchmark for similar tourism projects. Some special trips include stops in Sami communities where passengers can experience aspects of traditional Arctic life. Respectful visits to reindeer farms allow passengers to learn about sustainable herding practices passed down through generations, while craft demonstrations showcase techniques passed down through centuries. Traditional Sami meals prepared with local ingredients such as reindeer meat, Arctic fish, and wild herbs offer an authentic culinary experience. These interactions are carefully structured to economically benefit host communities while maintaining dignity and control over how their culture is presented. Feedback from Sami community leaders has been consistently positive about this respectful approach. The Sami language is also celebrated and preserved through the project. Onboard announcements are made in Norwegian, English, and Northern Sami, acknowledging the status of the indigenous language in the territory. Educational materials include Sami vocabulary related to Arctic natural phenomena, many of which have nuances impossible to translate precisely into other languages. For example, the Sami have multiple different words for specific types of snow, each describing particular characteristics. This linguistic richness reflects deep knowledge of the environment accumulated through generations. By highlighting the Sami language, the project modestly contributes to broader linguistic revitalization efforts in indigenous communities. The partnership model established between the railway operator and Sami communities is attracting international attention as an example of truly sustainable and culturally sensitive tourism. Indigenous rights organizations have praised the approach, contrasting it favorably with numerous tourism projects globally that exploit native cultures without adequately benefiting them. Young Sami have found new tourism-related career opportunities that allow them to remain in ancestral territories instead of migrating to cities. This strengthening of rural indigenous communities represents perhaps the most significant legacy of the project beyond the tourism experience itself. It demonstrates that economic development and cultural preservation are not mutually exclusive, when proper planning and correct values prevail. Operational challenges and solutions. Operating a luxury rail service in an extreme Arctic environment presents unique challenges that demanded ingenious solutions and substantial investment in specialized infrastructure. Temperatures in northern Norway during winter regularly drop to 30 degrees C or colder, with record lows approaching 50 degrees C. Under these conditions, metals become brittle, lubricants freeze, batteries lose capacity, and electronic components behave unpredictably. Each train system had to be specifically designed or adapted to function reliably in these extreme temperatures. Extensive testing was conducted over multiple winters before the official launch, identifying and correcting vulnerabilities that only real-world conditions could reveal. Managing snow and ice on the tracks presents a constant operational challenge during the winter months. While light snow can be easily displaced by the train's front wipers, heavy accumulations or compacted snow require more substantial interventions. The company has developed a preventative maintenance program that involves teams regularly patrolling the route in specialized vehicles, removing accumulations before they become problematic. Electric heating systems installed in critical sections of the tracks, particularly on sharp curves and inclines, maintain temperatures above freezing even during intense storms. This heating infrastructure represents a significant but essential investment for reliable operations. Arctic storms can arise rapidly and with fierce intensity, bringing winds exceeding 100 km/h and visibility reduced to practically zero. The train's weather system constantly monitors conditions along the entire route, receiving data from strategically positioned automatic weather stations and updates from national weather services. When severe storms are forecast, schedules may be adjusted to avoid the worst conditions, or journeys may be temporarily suspended. Safety always takes precedence over commercial considerations. Passengers are proactively informed of any necessary adjustments, and the company has developed generous rebooking policies to minimize inconvenience caused by weather-related cancellations. The logistics of supplying trains operating in remote regions also present complexities. Fresh provisions for onboard restaurants must be transported from distant population centers, requiring careful planning and resilient supply chains. The company has partnered with local producers whenever possible, not only to reduce transport distances but also to support the regional economy. Local fishermen supply fresh seafood, regional farmers provide meat and dairy products, and cooperatives supply vegetables from specialized hydroponic greenhouses that operate even during polar darkness. This network of local suppliers has proven more reliable than relying exclusively on long supply chains vulnerable to weather disruptions. The crew's training to operate in these extreme conditions is extraordinarily rigorous. All team members, from engineers to waiters, undergo certification in wilderness first aid, cold weather survival, and Arctic emergency procedures. Regular emergency scenario simulations ensure everyone knows exactly how to respond if the train becomes stranded in a remote location during a storm. Each train carries enough emergency supplies to sustain all passengers and crew for 72 hours in complete isolation, including non-perishable food, thermal blankets, redundant communication equipment, and comprehensive medical kits. Fortunately, these resources have never been needed in a real situation, but their existence provides crucial peace of mind. The maintenance of the train cars also follows specialized protocols. After each trip, trains undergo detailed inspections in heated facilities where technicians check all critical systems. Components showing any sign of thermal stress are proactively replaced before failures can occur. The fleet includes spare cars that allow for rotation for deep maintenance without interrupting operating schedules. This aggressive preventive maintenance program is significantly more expensive than conventional practices, but absolutely necessary to ensure reliability in such an unforgiving environment. The costs are justified by the unparalleled safety achieved and the reputation for operational excellence that the company has quickly established. Future expansion and long-term vision. The resounding success of the initial operations is already fueling ambitious expansion plans that could fundamentally transform Norwegian Arctic tourism in the coming decades. the company has announced intentions to add complementary routes that would connect the main line to additional destinations of interest, creating a network of scenic rail services covering much more Arctic territory. One proposed extension would reach the Svalbard archipelago via a combination of rail and specialized ferry, offering access to one of the northernmost inhabited places on the planet. Another planned route would follow the west coast through some of Norway's most spectacular fjord landscapes, providing differentiated experiences beyond the northern lights. The company is also exploring the concept of specialized themed trains for different interests and demographics. A scientific train equipped with advanced research instruments would allow citizen scientists to contribute to the actual collection of data on atmospheric phenomena while enjoying the tourist experience. A photographic train with specialized features, such as stabilized outdoor platforms and workshops led by world-renowned professional photographers, would cater to serious photography enthusiasts. There are even discussions about a family-oriented train with educational activities specially designed for children, making Arctic science accessible and exciting for young minds. This diversification could multiply the appeal of the concept. International partnerships are being explored to expand the model beyond Norwegian borders. Preliminary discussions with Finnish and Swedish railway authorities consider cross-border services that would traverse 3 Scandinavian countries, offering diverse cultural perspectives on the Arctic in a single journey. Even more ambitious talks involve potential replication of the concept in Canada and Alaska, although regulatory and infrastructure challenges in those regions are substantially different. The company is positioned to license its technology and operational expertise to international operators wishing to develop similar services, creating additional revenue streams while spreading the model globally. Future technological innovations promise to further enhance the experience. The company is investing in research on smart glass that could automatically adjust opacity based on light conditions, maximizing visibility of auroras while minimizing glare from other light sources. Virtual reality systems are being developed that would allow passengers to experience aurora simulations during periods of inactivity, educating them about different types and formations. There is even speculation about the eventual incorporation of autonomous drones that could fly above the train, capturing aerial perspectives of auroras and landscapes, transmitting live feeds to screens in the carriages. These innovations would keep the experience at the technological forefront. The long-term vision includes transforming select points along the route into destinations in their own right. Architectural plans have been revealed for boutique hotels specializing in strategic locations, designed to mimic the train's aesthetic while offering extended stays. These establishments would allow visitors to spend multiple nights in prime viewing spots, significantly increasing their chances of witnessing spectacular auroras while enjoying consistent comfort. Public astronomical observatories, equipped with powerful telescopes and expert guides, would complement the railway experience. This infrastructure would transform currently remote corridors into vibrant centers of scientific and experiential tourism. Sustainability remains central to all expansion plans. The company has publicly committed to maintaining carbon-neutral operations even as it scales, investing in additional renewable energy capacity and certified carbon offset programs. Detailed environmental impact studies are mandatory before any new route is approved, and local communities retain veto power over developments they deem harmful. This conscious and deliberate growth contrasts with the rampant tourism expansion seen in many destinations globally. The company understands that the quality of the natural environment is its most valuable asset, and preserving it is not altruism, but a fundamental business necessity. The vision is to create a lasting legacy that will benefit future generations of visitors and local residents. Final reflections and transforming impact. This scenic train ride to see the Northern Lights represents much more than tourism innovation. It symbolizes a fundamental shift in how humans relate to extraordinary natural phenomena and extreme environments. Historically, experiencing the aurora required accepting significant discomfort, a kind of ordeal that separated true adventurers from casual tourists. This democratization of the experience through comfort does not diminish the phenomenon, but makes it accessible to a much wider range of humanity. Seniors with limited mobility, families with young children, people with medical conditions that would make prolonged exposure to cold dangerous, all can now witness this natural spectacle. The resulting inclusivity collectively enriches our global culture. The psychological impact of experiencing the Northern Lights is documented in research showing profound and lasting effects on the emotional well-being of observers. Psychologists describe the phenomenon as an awe experience, moments that connect us with something greater than ourselves and temporarily dissolve worldly worries. Study participants consistently report feelings of peace, renewed perspective on personal issues, and increased connection with nature even months after observing auroras. This train, by facilitating these transformative experiences for thousands of people annually, is potentially contributing to collective mental health in a measurable way. In an era of increasing anxiety and digital disconnection, opportunities for genuine awe become ever more valuable. The educational dimension cannot be underestimated. Each passenger returns home not only with photographs and memories, but with a deeper understanding of solar physics, terrestrial magnetism, Arctic meteorology, and the vulnerability of polar ecosystems. This distributed scientific literacy creates a more informed population on critical climate issues. When someone personally witnesses the magnificence of the Arctic, abstractions about climate change become viscerally real. Preliminary studies suggest that participants in this type of experiential tourism subsequently demonstrate greater engagement with environmental causes and more sustainable behaviors. If these trends are confirmed, the long-term impact transcends tourism to touch global conservation. Economically, the project demonstrates an alternative development model for remote regions that traditionally depend on extractive industries such as fishing, mining, or oil extraction. These activities often conflict with environmental preservation and can be vulnerable to global market fluctuations. Experiential tourism based on intact natural heritage offers an economic path that rewards conservation instead of exploitation. Communities along the route are realizing that their pristine environment has direct and substantial economic value when kept intact. This realization is influencing local policy decisions about future development, with growing resistance to industrial projects that would threaten environmental quality by attracting tourists. The viral success on social media has created a cultural phenomenon of its own, with hashtags related to the train accumulating hundreds of millions of views. Images and videos of auroras captured on board circulate globally, inspiring renewed fascination with natural wonders among generations that grew up primarily experiencing the world through screens. Ironically, the digital technology that many blame for disconnecting people from nature is in this case amplifying appreciation for it. Young people who would never have considered Arctic tourism are now dreaming of the experience, planning savings, and researching the science behind the lights. This globally distributed inspiration may have far-reaching implications for career choices, life priorities, and cultural values of emerging generations. Ultimately, this Norwegian Northern Lights scenic train represents a celebration of what humans can achieve when they combine technology, respect for nature, cultural sensitivity, and bold entrepreneurial vision. It's a story of innovation that serves both human delight and environmental conservation, that generates economic prosperity while preserving cultural heritage, that democratizes extraordinary experiences without compromising their quality. In a world often dominated by discouraging news, this project offers a hopeful narrative about possibilities when we make conscious choices and invest in experiences that enrich human life. The auroras have always danced in the Arctic skies, but now more people than ever can witness their beauty, and in doing so, perhaps return transformed with renewed reverence for the extraordinary planet we inhabit. If you dream of experiencing this wonder, start planning now, because some dreams absolutely deserve to be fulfilled. Subscribe to our channel for more fascinating discoveries that expand horizons and be inspired to explore the endless wonders our world offers.